I like to use the US DoD reference architecture in conversation when I talk about product velocity and time to market, because it's probably one of the most highly regulated environments on the planet. And it's also one of the largest organizations on the planet. Like they've got the sheer number of developers that work for the Department of Defense and the various arms of defense is astronomical, right? Nicholas Shalan, the first chief software officer for the US Air Force, did a really good job with the white paper he released. If you haven't seen that, I'd check it out. Um, One of the key takeaways I had from that was you need to keep security relevant to the pace of technology. We're thinking about now security, at the speed of agile DevOps. If you have a product team that's practicing continuous deployment and they release, 5, 10, 20 times a day, you can't run a DAST scan for every single release, right? So it's a really cool white paper that I'd encourage everyone to read. I don't want to bore you with the technical details, but things like the concept of security sidecar in Kubernetes, service mesh, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, right? Like that, it's as far as I'm concerned, that's the absolute Bible. I mean, these guys are able to deploy software to F-35 fighter jets in an hour, right? Like I don't think you can release software that quickly. There's the whole concept of certification to operate, CATO. In order to gain that, you need to pass multiple layers of compliance. The only way to do something that strenuous is to have DevSecOps embedded truly within an organization, and moving past DevSecOps towards things like Secure Software Factory. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Secure Software Factory. Can I see a show of hands? No. So Secure Software Factory goes a bit beyond just having like a pipeline, right? Where you're running some, you're checking your packages for dependencies and you're checking your code for SQLI or whatever vulnerabilities. And maybe, you're running some DAST on top of that where you deploy your app and then you run, some fuzzing and whatever from Burp or Zap. It's taking it much further than that, where you're looking at the supply chain of software as a whole. And then, what was that thing? The FireEye and SolarWinds breach, right? Like that's the classical example that everyone looks to for supply chain security. It's taking, and maybe it's not relevant to you in your role right now, but certainly it is for me. I'm a target for nation state actors. I have to deal with China and Russia attacking my organization. And so this stuff becomes really prevalent. It's thinking about things like, okay, well, if I consume an NPM library, how do I know that that NPM library is what it is supposed to be? How do I know that this container or this pod of containers that I've deployed into production are at all times who they say are what they are supposed to be? It's about establishing provenance through the supply chain. And I'm happy to talk about that offline, but it'd be like an 8-hour session.